Welcome and welcome. And this is the hour of politics. This is Focus on Liberia. I'm Anthony Cie, and I can say welcome enough to today's edition of the hour of politics. In this edition, we are doing some analysis of current political issues, talking about the issues that we are analyzing. Political issue, by the way, number one, the controversial non-contributory pension law amendment. I will explain that to you and make it simple. And issue number two, resignations of the sanctioned government officials. They have finally resigned. I will be doing some analysis. And finally, for our last issue, another endorsement for Elizana Benedict Cummings. Is Cummings picking up some political steam here? We will look into that as well. And so, folks, we want to say welcome to the hour of politics. I know you miss your usual analysis or your usual analytical, edition of the hour of politics. We got one for you today, and it is one of those you actually going to like. And so we will not waste your time. We will get into it right now. Let's do it.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
And I'm Anthony Cie, Hour of Politics and Analytical Edition. Welcome. You all have heard the noise, 50% for lawmakers in a pension scheme. You heard all the noise. But hey, we are here for you. We went to work and we did our research. And from our research, we were like, wait a minute, an amendment? And for what? Why is all this noise? How come people didn't know that there has been a law in our country for years and years that have a portion, the very 50% for senior government officials in our country? I mean, are people just getting to know about this? And they had us here at Focus on Liberia just scratching our heads. This is not new. This has been the law of the land. Have people been paying attention here? So, folks, let me let you know that there has been pension laws in Liberia that have allotted the very 50% to the very senior government officials. And their law was signed into law. It was enacted and it has been enforced. It has been the law of the land that senior officials of our government should receive 50% of their income after their retirement from the government. The law has been here. They have been receiving the money. This is not new. I'm sorry you didn't know. So, there's this saying that if you want to hide something, I don't know, they say from the black man or from the Liberian man or woman, just put it into writing. And then you will be able to hide it. Is that what it is here? So, talking about the controversial non-contributory pension law amendment, I think you're hearing the word amendment. An amendment is when you are making a change to an existing law. An amendment is just a change to just anything, but usually it applies to law. So to amend something would mean that there might have existed a law and you are making a change to that particular law. So yes, there has been a pension law for Liberia. There was one as far back as the 70s. There was one in 2003. And that one of 2003 was amended in 2010, allotting the very 50% to lawmakers. The lawmakers who today got exposed actually have not been exposed at all. And that is why I question, why were they trying to change it? Because this very 50% has been allotted to them for retirement based on the 2010 revised pension law of Liberia. Now, we read the whole document, eloquently written, easier to understand for anybody like me, who will have maybe some challenges understanding this English language. So here it is, folks. Let me show you that law, and then I will bring you the analysis that you need to hear. As you can see, pension laws, non-contributory pension scheme, Republic of Liberia, Civil Service Agency, June of 2010. This law was passed, and since 2010, it has been the law of the land. And this law was revised in 2010. There was a 2023 version that got revised. Sorry, there was a 2003 version. Let me correct that. There was a 2003 version of the law that got revised in 2010, allotting the very 50% to senior government officials, including the very senators and representatives that we are talking about. This law has been around, and that brings me to the analysis. If the previous law has allotted 50% to all of them, that which they are trying to secure, to maintain, to enjoy after leaving office, then what it is they're trying to change it. Did it just happen so that they will get exposed? Same many people didn't know. But let me lay it all out on you here quickly. In that 2010 revised pension law, and they call it non-contributory pension law. Non-contributory means they do not contribute to it. Can you imagine that? Senators, representatives, presidents, judges, associate justices, our senior government officials appointed and elected by the people, who have been making the most unbelievable salaries and benefits in our nation, have not been able to contribute a penny to the very pension that they, by law, are to receive upon retirement. For those of us who are privileged to be in America and other countries where there are pensions and something called 401k, those are money set aside so that when you leave your job and retire, and then you will be able to receive that money. Even the Social Security system here in the US, employees or the workers contribute to it. If you work in America, you pay Social Security tax, so that upon your retirement, you will be receiving Social Security checks. If you are with a company that employ you, in my case, for example, I work for a private entity. That private entity contributes to my Social Security. And myself, as an employee, a taxpayer, I contribute to it. In fact, if you have a 401k, you contribute to it as an employee, and your employer also contribute to it. But flip it on the other side in Liberia. Our senior government officials who are making the most fattiest salary in the whole world do not contribute to their pension. And they get 50%. And they don't contribute a penny to it. And I will emphasize that in most developed world, in most of the developed countries, to put it right, especially America as an example, your Social Security, you pay. If you don't pay, you don't get it. But in Liberia, the pension that these senior government officials are to receive, they don't pay a penny. In other words, nothing is taken out of their monthly earning as a contribution or their personal contribution to the benefit or the pension that they will receive upon retirement. How is that fair? How is that fair? Those who are making the fattiest salaries are not contributing to their own pension that they will receive upon retirement. So our senior government officials, including presidents, all of them have been freeloaders. Freeloaders. And these are the people you call all the respect. You worship them because our laws have made them freeloaders. They're just getting money that they don't contribute to. When they were serving, they got paid a fattier salary. When they retire, what they're supposed to receive, they didn't contribute a dime to it. So maybe that's why many people have been furious. Now, how could these people in their right mind be making the fattiest salaries and allowances that we can ever imagine, something that is not affordable for a poor country like Liberia? And then when they retire, they get 50% of that. And not only that, they are getting it, if that particular employee dies, that money goes to his wife, the widow. And if that person is not married, or in a case where the widow remarries, then that 50% goes to his children. So our nation now is just dishing money on somebody because it serves as a president and senator, even though we have so much to give them. In Liberia, 80% of the nation's budget is spent on recovering expenses, and about 50% of that 80% goes to salaries for these freeloaders. That's the name we should give them. How can you not contribute to something you will enjoy? Look, to prove to you that there has been a law This law, I will read from it, the 50% being given to presidents, senators, or representatives, judges, all of them. I will read for you. But let me bring to you something that will interest you. Here it is. I am reading from that very law I just showed you. Section 1 says, except where retirement pensions are otherwise provided by law, every employee of government shall receive retirement pension as follows. A, for 25 up to 30 years of service, a person based on 33 of the last yearly salary earned by him. B, for 30 up to 40 years of service, a pension based on 50% of the last yearly salary earned by him. And C, for 40 years and over, a pension based on 60% of the last yearly salary earned by him. I don't know why in the law they put by him. Are they trying to tell us that they are now women? Let them go to this thing and maybe make some changes there. Upon the death of the pensioner, 50% of the pension shall be paid to the widow during her natural life, so long as she remains unmarried. Or if there is no widow, or the widow remarries, the surviving child or children honor the descendant during the minority. So what they are saying there is, folks, this law is saying one must have served at least 25 to 30 years, at least 40 years, all right, to earn 50%. That is across the board. Now, you will find out not everybody in the government serve 50 years. 25 to 30 years to 40 years. I'll break this down for you. That is the standard set. Now, further down, you will realize that this 25, this 40, and 30 years mainly apply to civil servants. So the guy who been making the least, that the police officer, the teacher, the nurse, these are the people, who have been on the job for 25 to 30 to 40 years. Because where they are, they are not in appointed areas. So usually when government changes, they remain because they are civil servants. So for the most part, these are the people we will find in most cases who will be working for government for 25, for 30, and 40 plus years. And the law is saying for those people, for that length of time, when they shall have retired, they will be entitled to 50% of the last salary they earned at the time they were in government. That is the standard. But where I find the law to be a little more unfair is when it comes to lawmakers, presidents, associate justices, chief justice, and all that. And let me bring that for you. I'm reading from the law right now. So let's start from the Supreme Court. Let's start from the judiciary branch of government. What did the law say? In section 3, it reads, a former Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Liberia who has honorably retired to private life and who is not in any way gainfully employed by government shall receive a pension equal to 50% of the salary of the Chief Justice. So if a Chief Justice serves that Chief Justice is entitled to 50% of what they were earning at the time they served as Chief Justice. All right? And then the law continues. In addition, a former Chief Justice shall be entitled to a personal staff and facilities for the remainder of his or her life. The allowance allowed for his purpose, for this purpose, shall not be less than 15,000 United States dollars. Folks, are you listening to this? So this is what the law is saying. If you serve as Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia, when you retire, you are entitled to 50% of the last salary you earned at the time you served. You're entitled to 50%. So let's say, for example, the Chief Justice was earning 10,000 monthly. When that Chief Justice retires, that Chief Justice will be getting a monthly salary of 5,000 US dollars. That's 50%. Now, that is not all. The law is also saying, in addition to that 50%, that Chief Justice is still entitled to personal staff and facilities. Can you imagine that? This former Chief Justice is still entitled to personal staff and facilities. I'm not sure what facility means. It might be some amenities, maybe my car and other things. I would think so. So that means the government will still be providing for this retired Chief Justice, even though that person is getting 5,000 with the example given. The person is still entitled to other amenities from the government. You think that's all? Wait a minute. The law further goes to say the allowance allowed for this purpose shall not be less than 15,000 US dollars per annum. So in addition to the personal staff, the 50%, the amount that will be given to this particular Chief Justice to maintain that lifestyle will be 15,000 United States dollars per annum. This is the law of the land. How many media institutions will tell you this? You go for fries and G's, and the country is left in a limo. And the freeloaders are enjoying. Some of you have no clue. The law did not establish. It said the surviving spouse of the Chief Justice shall be entitled to receive an annuity equal to 50% of the pension received by the former Chief Justice. In addition, the surviving spouse shall be entitled to a personal staff and facility for the remainder of his or her natural life. The allowance allowed for this purpose shall not be less than 7,000 United States dollars. So what it's saying here is that if the retired Chief Justice dies, the benefit goes to his wife. That wife too will be entitled to personal staff and facilities. I would think facilities here could mean they'll be providing vehicles, other things for the particular the surviving widow of the dead Chief Justice. And that would be an equivalent of 7,000 to be given to that widow. That is the law of the land. You didn't know that? And you're yelling here about 50,000 as though this is new? I got more information for you. So that is the Chief Justice. Let's go a little faster here. Now we come to former Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of Liberia. The same with the former Associate Justice, meaning that if someone served an Associate Justice and retired, that person is also going to receive 50% of what they were earning at the time they served. In addition, they will be entitled to personal staff and facilities. The cost of that personal staff and facility will be $6,000. So let me give another example for the purpose of the analysis. So let's say that Chief Justice was making $8,000 as a salary. When that Chief Justice retire honorably, that person is going to be receiving $4,000. In addition to that $4,000, the law is saying that former Chief Justice is entitled to staff, somebody to help him or her with whatever they may have to do in retirement. And they will be entitled to facilities. Whatever facility, then the law did not give the breakdown. And again, I would think that maybe carved for that person to get around. And to do that, the law is also setting aside $6,000 for that retired associate justice. So that $4,000 plus $6,000, that is $10,000. No, let me correct it. That $6,000 will be every year. It is the 50% of the salary that will be every month. So every year that person gets $6,000. Every year gets $6,000. In addition to the 50% they will be receiving. Let me correct that. And the same will apply to the associate justice. When that associate justice dies, the benefit switches or goes to his wife, his surviving wife. And that wife will also be entitled to the facility and personal staff. But this time, instead of that wife getting $6,000 every year to maintain the facilities, she will be getting $3,000 every year. In addition to the 50% in this example that I gave me, the $4,000 that person will be receiving. So that's associate justice. Now let's come to President pro tem. The pro tem is a senator, right? A former pro tem who has honorably retired to private life and who is not in any gainful employment by the government shall receive a pension equal to 50% of the salary of the incumbent pro tem. So can you imagine that? So let's say this pro tem at the time they were serving, that pro tem was making, let's say, $8,000. That pro tem retired today. There's a new pro tem today. Because the budget has increased, the new pro tem budget gone to $10,000. The law is saying, even though the retired pro tem of the former pro tem was making $8,000, and since 50% of $8,000 will be $4,000, that person is now going to receive 50% of what they were earning. Instead, that person will receive 50% of what they did not earn, but what the current pro tem is earning. The country is amazing. This country is amazing. And where can you get this kind of research from? What kind of media institution going to give you this kind of information? Go for your fries and G's. And this is how we, all of you punish your country. You don't seek information. You don't go where you get reliable information to inform you. Understand? All these people crying all over the place. They yelling all over the place. They angry. This thing has been here. It has been right here. They have been receiving the 50%. And not only 50%, they be entitled to facility and staff while they are in retirement. And there is a yearly allotment. So the pro tem, the yearly allotment, in addition to the 50%, is $8,000 United States dollars. And when that pro tem dies, his wife gets the same 50%, but this time, that pro tem wife is not going to get that $8,000 every year. That pro tem wife, according to the lawyer, will get $4,000. So when the pro tem dies, or when any of these senior government official dies after their retirement, whatever they were getting as a package on a yearly basis, in addition to the monthly allowance, they call it in half to give it to the wife. That's what the law is saying. So we did for Chief Justice, Associate Justices, we did for pro tem. Now let's come to the entire legislature. The people who talking about 50% and all of you getting mad. This thing has been around here, and that's why I was just looking at people. Former members of the national legislature. Any member of the national legislature who has been elected and has served as senator or representative, excluding the speaker, deputy speaker, and pro tem of the Liberian Senate, and who is not in any way gainfully employed by the government shall receive upon honorable retirement from the legislature receive from government an annuity equal to 50%. Again, senators and representatives, when they retire honorably according to the law, they are to receive 50% of whatever they were earning. 50% of the salary of the incumbent legislator per annum. So what they are saying here is that for senators and representatives, when they retire, they use the word honorably, they will not receive 50% of what they were earning when they were serving as lawmakers. Instead, they will receive 50% of what current lawmakers are making. You see the twisted logic there? So in other words, they are saying once a lawmaker is a lawmaker for life. So even though the person, when they were serving a lawmaker, they were making $5,000. Now that the budget gone up, according to the government, that they're raising $800 million. I mean, I don't believe that. It's not realistic, right? And now they have increased their budget around $34 million added to their budget. That means the current lawmakers' budgets have increased. Even though that lawmaker is not there to make law, it's not doing anything for the country, but that lawmaker in retirement gets a raise. Amen. And in addition to that 50% that they'll be receiving annually, each lawmaker will get $6,000 added to their 50% annually. And just as the law applies to president, no, we haven't reached the president yet, pro tem, associate justice, and chief justice, their surviving widow will get 50%, the same 50%. And the $6,000 now will be cut into half, and they will be given $3,000. Follow me here. You get your 50% clean, nothing wrong with that. But in addition to the 50%, they gave in them a special package of $6,000 for senators and representatives across the board. So when you get your 50%, they add something to your 50% every year. That's a one-time payment every year of $6,000. So when the lawmaker dies, that $6,000 that is given once a year, in addition to the monthly 50%, which is almost like a monthly salary or pension money, when that lawmaker dies, that $6,000 that is given just one time in a year, in addition to what they get every month, they call it into half for the surviving widow. So lawmaker dies, you are getting $6,000 every year, one-time payment every year. That is being added to the one he received, or the pension he received every year. They cut that $6,000 in half, and then because he's no longer alive, they're giving half of that $6,000, which is $3,000, to his surviving wife. So the wife is still smiling. She gets monthly payment, 50%, and at the end of the year, she gets 3,000. And they say she's entitled to personal staff and facilities. Apparently, the woman will maintain the cook that the lawmaker had to be cooking for the lawmaker's wife. The lawmaker wife can decide, say, I don't need cook. Government does not know about that. Say, well, it's by laws. She's entitled to it. So she, even if she doesn't hire anybody, she takes the money. I know the big word is called corruption, right? Because that should have been somebody employment. She fires the person, she takes the money. I love this country. And you think we're going anywhere with that? So let's come to the precedent. For former president, a former president of the Republic who has honorably retired to private life and who is not in any way gainfully employed by the government shall receive from the government a pension equal to 50% of the salary of the incumbent president. So Ellen was in power. Ellen budget her personal or her salary. Let's pull it at. Let's say Ellen was making $20,000 every month as president. That's just an example. And during Ellen time, the budget was always around $500,000. President Wyatt is dead now. The boys, with their twisted smartness, they say the budget has gone to 800 million. Even though budget shuffle will bring it to the same 500, and we know that. But so President Wyatt now is getting 400,000 instead of Ellen getting 10,000, which is 20,000. I mean, getting 10,000. We're supposed to be 50%. I mean, getting 10,000 as 50% of her 20,000. Because Joshua budget now, who is the current president budget, gone to 400,000, or monthly income, or monthly salary, monthly income, or gone to 400,000. My Elena, if with this example, my Elena would be smiling more. She'll be getting 200,000 every month as her allowance or pension. And you think that is enough? So in addition to Madam President increase pension money, I know Uncle Joe might be smiling right now because Joel Howard Taylor now is making more than what Mr. Bwaka was making. So by this law, Joe Bwaka in retirement had gotten a raise. Even though he's just bunking, but he got a raise. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf is not doing anything anymore, but she got a raise. All that she enjoyed as president, all that Bwaka has enjoyed as vice president, all that lawmakers have enjoyed when they were serving, all that the Chief Justice, maybe as it says Chief Justices, because many of them have retired now, and Associate Justices have enjoyed at the time they were there, they all got raised while in retirement. And teachers are still struggling while in employment. The president will get 50%. And in addition, the president shall be provided personal staff and facilities for the remainder of his or her life. The amount allowed for this purpose shall not be less than 25,000 United States dollars for the president per annum. So Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, in this example, should be getting about or more than 25,000 every year, in addition to the one she receives every month. Every year, they gave her extra $25,000 more. And with the law saying, whatever they get should be what the current president is earning, and the same applies to current Chief Justice, current lawmaker, they get in a raise. Folks, the surviving spouse of the former president shall be entitled to receive the same 50%. And instead of 25,000 now, that person get 12,500, who is the widow of the former president, in addition to the monthly pension, which we know is huge. Now the former vice president. A former vice president who has honorably retired to private life and who is not in any way employed by the government shall receive from the government a pension equal to, again, 50% of the salary of the incumbent vice president. I think I need no, I don't need to explain it again because I gave the example of Joe Howard. Joe Bucker got a raise. But in addition to Joe Bucker's monthly pension, he is going to be getting $15,000 a year. So every month he gets his increased pension. And then in addition to his increased pension, he gets $15,000. He's entitled to staff and he's entitled to facilities. I don't want you to cry, so I will leave it there. The law also gives money, the same 50% to the speaker. The law also gives the same 50% to the deputy speaker. In the case of the deputy speaker, the speaker is getting $15,000, the same amount they're giving the vice president every year, in addition to the monthly pension. For the deputy speaker upon retirement gets the same 50% of whatever the current speaker is earning and not what they were earning. And then $8,000 given to the speaker every year in addition to their increased monthly pension of 50%. So folks, I will stop this far to allow you cry your own cry. So what is this noise about? This is a 2010 law. 2010. This law was in existence in 2003. There was one. It is the 2003 version. They revised in 2010. And this is the most recent law that I'm reading to you. This is the most recent law. Allotting $50,000, 50% to all senior government officials. In addition to the 50% being allotted to them, they are getting a special package at the end of every year. The president gets $25,000. The speaker and the vice president get $15,000. The chief justice is getting, I believe, what's the amount again? Let me be sure here. Bear with me. Yep. The chief justice is getting $15,000. So, as chief justice, speaker, vice president, pro tem, they get $15,000. Anyway, the law is here. If you need it, we can send it to you for you to read and cry your own cry. So, that is the analysis I wanted to give. So, the controversial non-contributory pension law amendment, in my opinion, is not new. The law has been around. By the reading of this law, what they're getting is enough to get us mad. So I don't know what were they actually trying to change. So you don't need to hear about the new amendment to get mad. You should have been mad long since. Since 2010, you should have known about this law and be mad like hell. But you didn't know. So here you have it. That will do it for our first issue here. Now, let me talk on something quickly here and then open the phone lines for you. Issue number one here, issue number two. Yes, so this is issue number 2. Resignation of the sanctioned CDC government officials. So finally, CFOS resigned, Mange resigned, and Betwa will resign. I don't know where they were going. Maggie wrote a letter asking for due process. C4 wrote a letter asking for due process. C4 blamed Musa Din for everything that happened. For Maggie, he blamed it on false information. The greatest democracy on earth, the most powerful country, that is very good with intelligence, even though the US are getting intelligence so wrong so many times in the case with their so-called weapons of mass destruction in Iraq when they went over there and murdered people and committed massacres and committed genocide in Iraq, something for which the US government will be held accountable for. So the US has gotten it wrong in so many instances that we can point to. But the US has also gotten it right in so many instances. I would think the US has gotten this right with these folks. Some of us who in the business follow the activities of these, three non-Hebrew boys. I call them the three non-Hebrew boys because they are corrupt. Maggie, the guy who was living in a swamp, who had nothing yesterday. He came to power 2018, 2020, Maggie started giving people $2 million Liberian dollars. I mean, come on. In barely 8 months into government, Maggie got himself a mansion. He said he took loan. Maggie has gone to every rich Gov't County and giving over 50 million Liberian dollars. This guy, Maggie, who could not even afford a cell phone. That man could not afford a better cell phone for himself. The better phone that Maggie has ever gotten came from CDC USA Minnesota chapter. I remember that phone was when the Samsung Note 4 came out. That was the first sophisticated smartphone Maggie have ever gotten in his life. Gotta say Note 4. If he listening to me, he remembers that. CDC USA got it for him. Broke, tired. And this is a guy, less than 2 years into the government, was giving 2 million Liberian dollars to people in Douala market and calling it just a small donation. How in the world 2 million Liberian dollars can be a small donation, just to run your office? And as though that is not enough, this Maggie guy, his name was mentioned in the National Housing and Saving scandal. His name was mentioned. He's supposed to receive 100,000 United States dollars. Fast forward, this Maggie guy yet, started putting companies, businesses, company into place. He established his own businesses, getting contracts from the very government, awarding himself contracts, road contracts. That was one of the reasons why he got into some fight with Mobutu Vlayimpa. Mobutu got sick under mysterious circumstances. Today, he's on the ground. Our investigation here focused on Liberia. Mobutu has given Maggie a business, a contract to build road. He didn't get the job done, so Mobutu did not want to give him another contract, and Maggie was not happy about that. This very Maggie name is mentioned in everything. And this guy have gone to, like I said earlier, to almost every county that has so many votes and giving millions. The last time he gave, I think, 2 million or 1 million to Pan One Tappers. That man is giving millions to even Pan One Tappers in Gov't County. Maggie. The other time he said he raised 20 million Liberian dollars for women empowerment in Gov't County. Where is this guy getting all this money from? So we know all along this guy has been corrupt to the core. He has been rotten corrupt. Maggie, where you getting all that money from? You went to Grand Bassa, 50 million. Nimba, 50 million. Mangibi, 50 million. Liberian dollars. Come on. You earning all that money, Maggie? Come on, man. And he writing a letter that the U.S., might have received, wrong information. They very Maggie has been paying ex-generals, giving them rice and money. He borrowed that from Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Ellen did the same thing. And he said he's not corrupt. Bill 12 moved $1.5 million to a private account that he opened, established his own business, and started awarding himself contracts. And his business would not even carry on the tax. The case that happened in Grand Bassa County at the Buchanan port. Someone blew the alarm because he's close to George Weah. They exempted him of guilt when the records prove otherwise. He's corrupt to the core. The guy has just been taking just about any amount he wants. I won't be surprised that he takes it to Weah and shares with him. So the records are there. The U.S. sanctioned these guys and they said they don't want to resign. Where can you go? And is C-Force too. He's an expert when it comes to corruption. He's brainless when it comes to corruption. And he thinks he's smart. He uses the law to his advantage, duping clients, selling cases to the highest bidder. And this is a guy, because he has the ability to write, and he has become a lawyer. He was chosen, something that is a disgrace to our country. And can you imagine this guy is resigning? This is the longest resignation letter I have ever seen in my whole life. And he thinks he's trying to prove a point here, embarrassing himself, humiliating himself, and just bringing our country to a complete disrepute with a display of shared nonsense coming from him. Resign in shame and just leave. Blaming everything on Musa Dean. Talking about his being sanctioned was envy-driven. Envy-driven? Who follows Liberian politics and does not know the name Cephas for who he actually is? This is a lawyer who is in contact with an indicted criminal who stole over $7 million from the U.S. government. Cephas in communication with that woman. Talking about human hairs. And the gist here is that these guys were trying, I think that someone said they went to, I don't know, Burkina Faso, but actually it was Ghana where they went. I don't believe in this thing called voodoo, but some people say it actually works. So they were trying to see, how could you have gotten away with this? Your meaningless letter, giving excuses, and not taking responsibility of the corruption act that you carry on, well documented. And you were refusing to resign and asking for due process. What kind of due process that you wanted? And a boyless president who has no understanding of the seriousness of the matter sat idly by, would not have acted swiftly and boldly to have fired these guys on day one. And the only reason he did not do that because in all of these things that happen, or in most of these things that happen, he has been the greatest benefactor of it all. And so how could he have fired himself? And so he has hoped that these guys will resign so that he will not be seen as the bad guy, because he got the lion's share of it all, if not on a monetary level, but also on a political level. On a political level, in the case of Sema Serena Cephas, this guy who shamelessly used his, wicked legalistic tactics in court, talking about the former constitutional vice president politically in the court of law, prosecuting a case when he had no evidence. And it was a show. And at the end of the day, he dropped that case after he said that this man was already guilty, and what was left was for a guilty verdict to come down for him to go do community service. He summoned suits and said, no case. This guy was on tape with Eddie Cochran, indicted criminal, 7 years of jail term in the United States, trying to take money for Cochran, talking about virgin hairs, and thinking that they can do some form of human sacrifice for she Ellen to escape jail somehow. And because these guys believe in this, that was their last move, to see if they could use voodoo and somehow escape accountability. And now that it did not work, they are resigning. What a shame. So their whole resignation thing, everybody said it so eloquently. It's a bluff. It's a charade. It's meaningless. What would be meaningful in the fight against corruption, what would be meaningful when it comes to accountability, is for these disgraced and sanctioned individuals to face the full weight of the law. Sifa said he is a lawyer. Let these people also be indicted by the Liberian government, be taken to court, be adjudicated. In any case, with the overwhelming evidence we've seen, they will be guilty and let them serve jail term. And every penny that they all have swindled from the poor people, they should restitute those funds. They should never, ever have the opportunity to serve in government again. But do we have a president who will muster the temerity and the fortitude and the wherewithal to do that? Of course we don't. Sadly we don't. He's a chicken who has no idea what's going on with the hen as the hen feeds the chicks. Indeed, we are in trouble with my sister and brother George Weah. So, folks, don't take any meaningless resignation to mean anything. They should have been fired. They should have resigned on day one. They should have availed themselves for a due process in the court of law. Mangel went on a justification spree, and so is Cephas, in the most lengthy letter ever I have to read. Because of this work I do, I have to calm my nerves and read these letters from these individuals. Wasting our time. So, folks, my final issue here will be Elizana Benedict Cummings. Another big name endorsement for Elizana Benedict Cummings. So, an executive member of the former ruling NPP, the National Patriotic Party of Liberia, in person of diplomat Louis Brown, yesterday issued an address to the nation in which he politically endorsed Alexander Benedict Cummings' candidacy for the presidency of Liberia. Forgive me, I love good speakers. I am a fan of great communicators. So I can't just stop myself, but to admire great communicators. And I will not hesitate to put Louis Brown in that category. Louis Brown is an excellent and effective communicator. If Liberia should be proud of communicators, Louis Brown should be one. Not only in delivery, not only in writing, but also in debate. From what I learned from my partner Dennis Jai, Louis Brown was on the University of Liberia campus. And as a student leader then, he said Louis Brown used to imitate Dr. Martin Luther King. So this is then young Louis Brown, who was intentional about what a great communicator he wanted to be. And one thing I've often come to realize is from the 70s going to the 80s, Liberia educational system was sound, strong. And so our big brothers who graduated in that era, academically, especially those who was bright naturally and subjected themselves to the discipline of acquiring knowledge, they are just exceptional. And I can't just stab on them. So to my point here, Louis Brown delivered a message and an address to the nation. And his message profound. And, I don't want to go into who Louis Brown actually is. I'm just talking about his ability as a Liberian who communicates effectively, with the most proficiency and maybe I should use the word effectiveness. And that is not it. But he endorsed Cummings. And he has a own cloud. He has people who follow him, who respect him. There are people who are listening to him, who will go into a political direction that he goes. And so for such an endorsement, even though I'm not sure Louis Brown commands a huge political capital in our nation's history, and the reason is he is not that kind of politician who has, jumped into, electoral politics. I mean, what I mean is that he has never contested for any office before. It is only when one has contested for a political office, then we get to know what amount of people they can move in a political direction. For example, when President Weah ran, he won several thousands. I mean, yeah, he won several votes, several thousands of votes. When Bouaka ran, and he got 400,000. That is huge. That is a huge command. And so Louis Brown, we can't say how many percent he can make to vote for a particular candidate. If he had contested before, maybe a senatorial race or presidential race, at least we would have known that, okay, he contested and he netted maybe 10,000 or 100,000. And so we could then or can then estimate to say, this man is bringing about 100,000 here. We don't know that. But in politics, even one number can be the magic, because we have an electoral system that is 50% plus one. So let's say the man he endorses get 50%. That person will be looking for one vote. This endorsement from Louis Brown can produce that one vote. It can come from Louis Brown. It can come from somebody who goes into Cummings' direction because of Mr. Brown's endorsement. And with Mr. Brown's, level of eloquence, his brilliance in communicating, his ideals and beliefs and the things he thinks and feels and wants to see. And there are people like me who are like, this is it. This is it. This is an excellent representation of what we must be in terms of representation as a country. So it is meaningful. But how meaningful it is in terms of numbers, that is why we don't know. But any number counts, or every number counts in politics. This is Cummings' second big name political endorsement. We got the first one for Dr. Toga Gateway McIntosh. My understanding is that Mr. McIntosh is from the Bassa, from Grand Bassa County, and the Bassa speaking people. That's a huge ethnic group in our country. I'm not trying to tribalize our politics, but demographics in discussion is also necessary, right? So, and my understanding also, I don't know this for a fact, that Mr. Brown is also from the Bassa ethnic group. So this man will be talking to his people, not only his people though, but we turn to listening to our kind. It's in social science, it works. In sociology, we learn these things. I know from my hometown of Southtown, there are some people that know that president we are is the worst president we ever had. But yet they say, well, he's from our town, so we're going to vote for him anyway. And they are voting for him. Some members of my family, they can't just help themselves and say, but what do you want us to do? Do you want me to go vote for who? From where? I mean, this is my countryman. And the fact that he's president and he's from my town, that is enough for me. And you see, there are our fellow citizens, for example, who think like that. You might not be happy with that, but that is the reality. And it is their reality that's going to propel, that's going to be some of the contributing factors as to how the numbers move in a particular direction to make a decision for who becomes Liberia's president. And I thought I needed to bring that to you. So Cummings landed his second big name endorsement as he prepares for 2023. I'm sure there will be more endorsement for other candidates, Gov't included. What I like is that it seems to be the race will not be crowded. Are we getting better here as the people? Is our democracy maturing? So we're talking on the opposition side, Tiawan, Cummings, and Vice President Gov't. These are the people so far we hear. The others, we say they are all jokers, right? For lack of a better word, that they are not being given any serious attention yet. So if things stay constant, we might well have probably 4 candidates. Wouldn't that be a good thing? And I don't want to see a ballot paper about 20% or 22 on a ballot as it was in 2005. I mean, we have a country where a good number of our fellow citizens do not devote time to understanding some of these things. And now you place a 22 person's ballot in front of them. Come on, you're going to confuse the people. We don't need that. America, the greatest democracy, when you hand out the ballot, you don't see up to 10% presidential candidates on the ballot. We're talking about a country up to 400 million people. And we are less than 5 million people, and then we have 20 people. 20 persons for the most part. We don't need that. It's unnecessary. Because at the end of the day, it's obvious the contest can be just between 2 persons, even though we have that many candidates. So it has been a waste of time and confusion, and we don't need that. And I'm glad that we are getting to that point. So, folks, I will take a short break, and I will read comments, and I will also take some phone calls. I will take a short break, and when I come back, I will take comments and as well take some phone calls. Stay tuned, folks. right, folks, I'm back with you. Thanks for sticking around here at Focus on Liberia. Let me see if we have some callers. We do have the man Waiton Keller waiting on the line. Waiton, please wait for a moment. Let me see if I can do some comments here quickly. And folks, if you want to call, the phone number is in the student text below. I also have the number in the Facebook live field. Also, okay. Let me read some comments here so that if anything I did not capture, we will be able to correct that. Matthew Deco, welcome back, Anthony. I've been around. Thanks, Justina Beverly Pajibo. Please don't get me into a situation I can't handle. She said, hello there, boss. All right, I want to be the boss. It's good to be boss sometimes. Thanks. In America, we pay towards our retirement. Only a poor country like Liberia, and she couldn't have nailed it like a carpenter nailing somebody in a coffin. Let's hear from Kringa. Kringa is watching with you. Thank you for watching. Kringa writes, that should stop immediately. Corrupt criminals, yes, indeed, that should stop immediately. And when you look at that bill, they were not correcting that. They are very greedy. That you have from Gabriel Reed Larson again, Liberia is not a poor country. A person is making an argument that our government steals from we, the Liberian, heartlessly. What a damn shame. God will punish every one of them for using the country's citizens like they are slaves. This person writes, let's hear from Waiter, who's on the line. What is considered a retirement as regards to the issue? Mr. Host, can you answer my question? You will answer your own question. You are on the line. Kringa, again, the law shouldn't be the mandate. It should be totally revamped and dismissed. They should pay into their own retirement funds. Yeah, unfortunately, they call it non-contributory pension scheme, meaning they don't put a penny in there. Let's hear from Mercy Freeman, but Liberia got money. That person writes, John Manlo, God wanted them to expose them. No one knew this law existed. This is why the whole law needs to be totally annulled. This is what the people need to get on. This is what the people need to get on the street for, and the Senate is still trying to play with our intelligence. John Manlo, I'm the guy who always saying that it's the right of the people to protest, and you have always been criticizing me. I'm saying, what I'm protesting you on, and now you're agreeing with me? I always win in the debate, John. I always win in the debate. Oh, when it comes to Mr. Cummings, say, well, Cummings shouldn't protest. ANC shouldn't protest. But the people should get in the street. Everybody should protest. I love protest. It's the right thing to do. Let's hear from Thomas here. The man got his deal, his dead mother, a 24-hour security protection. Imagine that. That is correct. Maggie Bay, his mother, a Mussolinian security, internet, Wi-Fi, everything. Come on, my girl, that guy. Let's hear from Sam Oduya. He gave CDC 4,000 and EULA 100,000 and promised more in the next budget. That is correct. These are Mange's political sin or misgivings or misdealings, that people are exposing here. Thanks for the help. It seems to be the education we're providing is helping. Imagine giving money to boozers, palm wine tappers. Let's hear from Ansel Dwalo, yeah, my good friend. Well said, brother. Dwalo, but man, you guys are good with the language. I don't know that you're talking to me. Did I say well? The government officials have come to steal, kill, and to destroy the Liberia country. That's how the person put it. The Liberia country and the Liberian people. Let's hear from Thomas here again. At least I got paid 250 when. At least I got paid 250 when he visited Liberia. Drove him from the Dulles International Airport to the Liberian Embassy in Washington. I don't know what you're talking about. Dwalo says something that Louis Brown ran before. Let me see that comment. Dwalo said he has. Mr. Brown ran for the Senate before. I missed that. I missed that. Maybe that time I was not into politics. Dennis Jack got me into this thing here. Emmanuel Jackson said to Dwalu, yes, in 2011 election, but this guy doesn't have the information. That is true. I do not have the information, and I appreciate Dwalu for telling me this. I didn't know he ran before. I'm curious. I have to go to the NEC website and see how many votes he was able to get. That is important to me. That way I know his strength. Is this the MPFF rebel Louis Brown we are talking about here? Mr. Brown, yes, he was with the MPFL. He was behind the lines, according to his testimony. He was behind the line. Whether he was fighting for MPFF, I don't know. But I listened to his TRC testimony, and from his testimony, I got to know that he was associated with the MPFL in some respect. Whether he was on the front holding gun, I have to do more research to know that. But I admire Mr. Brown for his brilliance when it comes to communication, and I think he was a better representation as Liberia's ambassador to the United Nations. Sam, again, they should ban them to get involved in any political activities and run for. So Ben is saying they should ban these government officials. They shouldn't run for anything, because I think the point Sam is making here, Mange, we heard would be petitioned to run for the Senate in Bon County if he doesn't change his mind. And we also know Betwewe, that one I know for a fact, has decided that he will be running in Riverside County. This guy could just resign because they want to run for office. That's something I missed, and I think I got it now. These guys should be resigning because they want to run, because you can't occupy that position and run according to our law. You have to resign in order to do that. All right, folks, I will leave here with comments there. More comments here. Let me see what Jimmy Eastman is saying. Jimmy writes, they need to pay back the stolen money. That is the man, Jimmy Eastman, commenting from the nation's capital. He is focused on Liberia, co-host for our, political show here called On Point. And Jimmy is always on point. We will now go to the phone lines here quickly and give Liberians the opportunity to speak, or they can forever hold their peace. Let me see who is ready. Is Carol stay here? Waiton, if you can hear me, it is your turn to speak. How you doing?
Thank you, Anthony. I'm doing great. And you?
I'm doing well, my friend.
Yeah, so
go ahead.
Extended and what I do. My own concern, we talk about the 50% and stuff, but we don't talk about the pension age in Liberia. Are these lawmakers different from the regular people that work in government, like civil servants? Because I think in Liberian society, our government has an age for people who retire. I think they're moving the age from 60 to 65. So take, for example, if a young lawmaker who is 50 years old is not re-elected, so we consider that retirement. I think the law says when you retire while working, maybe you reach the age of 60 or 65, and you retire while being a lawmaker. While being a lawmaker can benefit from those things. I'm not saying what they are putting for themselves, I'm not saying it's good. No, I say it's bad. But I'm saying, can we educate our people further? But people thinking on that, for instance, if Yeka Koluba is not re-elected, he's going to get half of what he's been making. If Jadon is not re-elected, he's going to get what of what he's been making. That's not true. You have to remain in politics and get to that age. To retire, especially as a lawmaker. That's what I'm thinking. Is this something different from what I'm thinking? Do you have any idea? Because this applies for my education.
That is a very good question, or a good point you raised in there. Focus on Liberia legal analysts will be here, I believe, Sunday. And our legal analyst is reading this entire bill, this law, and that question will be asked and it will be answered. So I don't want to provide the answer. This is by law. My focus here into this presentation was to just present to our listeners that there has been this law giving these people 50%. So it's an ongoing educational process. I'm happy you raised that. And a good point you raised also is that there is a retirement age. Yeah, there is a retirement age in Liberia. It said that they have to reach that retirement age. If the person served one term and leave office, is that considered honorably retiring? So we will look into that and provide the answer. I can't give the answer right now. I don't want to lie.
And okay, I mean, I hope I'll be listening and seeing when you guys will come up with that discussion so we can educate our people. With the other two topics, those are speculation, especially for the people that were sanctioned and all that. My own problem is politically motivated because I have not gotten any evidence, substantial evidence to back what the United States said. And one of the things that put a red flag for me is I know the United States, when they want something, they will go and investigate. But for you to be asking Liberians to come forth and bring people in. So if I'm mad at Anthony today, I can go to the State Department and say, Anthony is a criminal. He stole from Liberia, and they will come after you. That is absurd. I think America should do better than what they're doing now. They should level the playing field, give people equal opportunity to run in elections. I think these people are pushing more weight on President Weah when it comes to gaining popularity in the rural area and other stuff. So they're looking for ways to reduce that popularity of President Weah. And they're making them stand mistakes instead of making them more popular. I think it's the worst mistake America and the opposition ever made. To say you punish President Weah by censoring some of his deputies, you understand, to curb the board. No, it's not going to work. You just giving this man enough people to come to his. Look at some of the things that are coming. Look at the pay agents that are coming on phone. Macalong. Look at Solo disgraceful Solo George Solo. Look at kind of you can't win election like that for President. You make the man more popular.
And for Witton, for you support President Weah. So I know you have a side. So and the way you speak, you're trying to make your side to feel good and look good. Politically speaking, the sanction of President Weah, President Weah's Minister of Presidential Affairs, it might be politically motivated, you said, I get it. But to say that it would make him more popular, look, America is a powerful nation. When the Liberian people come to believe that America is not happy with President Weah or his government, you know our country, you know how we Liberians, hold America in so much high esteem, and that when America is not on our side, it will not be good for us. The people might change their mind. You may be right that the people will love President Weah more. I don't know that to be a fact. What I know is when Liberian people get to know that America does not like a particular government, I don't think that government, that people will be feeling that love for that president. I don't think so. But I may be wrong, and you may be right.
For educated and sound people like you guys who've been around and into the deep politics of Liberia, it worked back then when there was no social media age. It's not working now. Because right after the sanction, what happened? You saw people on the street chanting, and you sanction, not sanction with football. Let me tell you, the poor is getting defined. You understand? I think the best way to either promote any candidate in this race against President Weah is to promote that candidate against what President Weah told them that he would deliver, and he did not deliver according to them.
And
then they go on that. Now, based on that, yes, sir.
Using Mange's example, Mange, he came to government in no time. He said he took a $250,000 loan. In no time, the guy had this pension, and that's not the only one. I know of two others that he built, and he got his mother. When the mother died, he buried the way President Weah did not even bury his mother. This is, his grandmother. You know George Weah well. You know him personally. George Weah never buried his grandmother. He lost so much in the faction Mange did. We have said nothing. I don't think that was good. President, we have said nothing. And McGill, like I said earlier in my expose, this man is going from one place to another. 50 million, 2 million, 50 million. President, we are inside is not going around giving 50 million to people. This is the McGill you are thinking the people will love because, or they will love President Weah because he's being sanctioned. I think the Americans have done Weah a good service here. What do you think?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying the people love McGill. I'm saying, let me say that one of the things
because you said sanction, no sanction.
McGill did not make George Weah. George Weah made McGill. All the people that are around, so they feel myself appearing on social media like people follow us. We are riding on the thing of George Weah. I'm telling you, we are riding on the field. McGill, all the people around President, we are riding on President. We are saying that's why you see we getting popular. But this is the thing, you said one thing on the show, and I want you, brother, I want you to, if you ever went to Liberia, right, go and see McGill house. McGill built his house, my cousin built house. See McGill share the same thing. That one thing. And it bothers me when I hear like Brentford say the man got mansion. If that wanted like Brentford was first that mansion, then I think we're low in thinking when it comes to development. Because for a minister that you people shouting around that they man got so much money there to build that kind of house in your corner mansion.
So what's about the millions he been dishing around? If you're disputing the issue of mansion.
No, that's about the house. I'm talking about the house. I ain't talking about the man fucking whole cash in your hands, whatever. I'm talking about the house. McGill house does not even reach the level of the former chairman of Unity Party house. What do you mean? The former chairman, I guess, lost to the revenue.
Oh, you mean women page?
No. The former chairman out there, the bad guy.
Former chairman of what party again?
Liberty and Unity Party former chairman house.
I don't know what the former chairman is. You mean Ami Modal?
Modal.
The man has been a private citizen. He was a private citizen when he paid a house. So
I'm just saying.
But Keto, don't dwell on this house. You are disputing the issue of the house. You say it's not a mansion. So I give it to you. You say it's not a mansion by the standard of mansion, right? But in Liberian standard, we are calling it a mansion. So we have a disagreement. That's fine. But I'm asking you, no, let us not dwell on the mansion. I have to bring somebody in. I'm asking you, what's about the millions McGill has been distributing around?
Well, that you got a point on, and I will not go into conversation disputing whatever, because for me, I think government officials should not be doing that. I one of the things in Liberia, the ask staff a question when you listen to the interview. He said Liberian people like patronage, right? They come to the leaders and the leaders hand them money. And that is a fact. As a people, you dare to cut on and put the interest of the people. But when you start taking or use some of money and dishing it around, it calls for alarm. It raises people up, especially in this age where people talking about eradicating corruption. It calls for that. I will give that to you. But as far as Liberian people, the other person headed on a coaster, that mansion on I saw my new home.
All right. What? All right. Let me fit that. So what's about President Weah? The one on 9th Street, will you call it a mansion? And the condominiums they talk about, will you call those mansion or not mansion as well?
President Weah had his own money prior to becoming president.
That is not the question I'm asking you. Will you call those mansion or not mansion?
Well, the one on 9th Street that he did a renovation, it's a mansion.
Okay.
It's a mansion.
So you think the president who was not having mansion should be building mansions while he's president?
I think the president who did not have mansion prior to he becoming president can't own a mansion if he had a lot of money coming to the presidency.
But do you know that President Weah never had mansion before becoming president?
Hold on now. You asked me a question. I was civil war. That's the thing. On 9th Street. They went and burned half of it down because of the.
Kera, my question is, do you know that President Weah never had a mansion before becoming president?
Why would you want to build a mansion when we're fighting civil war? The best place you put on the
My man, you're not answering my question. My man, you're not answering my question. Did President Weah have a mansion before becoming president or not?
President Weah did not have a mansion.
That's not a question. Did President Weah have a mansion before becoming president or not? That is my question.
President Weah never had a mansion, but he didn't build one because of the Civil War.
All right, thank you.
Nobody built a mansion like that except for put our he's running our government.
Thank you. You said the man had $85 million, but he couldn't build a mansion. President Weah, when he had $85 million, he had $85 million before the war, right?
Okay. Well, God bless you and you get $1. Take the million.
But you said the man couldn't build mansion because there was war, and I'm telling you, when that $25 million was reported, I mean, that $85 million was reported, he could have built a mansion somewhere else. He didn't necessarily have to build it in Liberia. And the $85 million you're talking about, at some point, according to President Weah fighting, he did not have, in 2005 when he filed, he only had about $500,000, if I'm not mistaken, in a Chase Manhattan Bank account, something like that, right? And that's all he had. So that $85 million was gone.
So have you investigated where he got the money from to pay his mansion?
I have not investigated. I know he took it from government. He got it when he came to government. When he became president, that's how he got the money.
You know, this is the thing you guys do that is so sad for us. How will you conclude?
Mr. Keller, I have to let you go. It seems to be you came to defend President Weah. Let me take my other caller.
No problem. I agree. Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you, brother. I appreciate the call. All right. Let's take the man, John Manglo. Mr. Manglo, you are live.
How you doing, Anthony?
I'm doing well.
You see, the young brother who just called is one of the guys who enjoying from the spoil of this corrupt administration. So he will not understand. I don't care how you explain it to him. The man say his cousin or his somebody and Maggie share the same fence. If you ask him what were your somebody doing before George Weah took over, you will laugh. Listen, what we're talking about, this Senate corrupt act, this old law that has been in place, nobody knew it was even there. They did it quietly and shut up. And been stealing from the Liberian people ever since. And all of them who come and see it, they shut up because they want to enjoy it. This thing needs to be totally annulled. For jobs like the Chief Justice, the President and the Vice President, I understand. The Speaker is an appointed position. You are regular representative. Your friends appoint you to be Speaker. That shouldn't give you any special privilege. The President and Vice President, whose spouses cannot work while they're in their post, I understand. But this kind of wickedness that these people are doing to their own people, for these people who go around talking about we the country people, there's also of them doing it to their own people and don't care. Then the Senate take it yesterday after the House sent it back to them. They spoke out and say, oh, it should be a no. And some people are against, some people for. And then when they were ready to pass the motion, they said they will look into it. They think people are stupid? Like they say, no one's stupid here. The Liberian people need to get on the street and make sure these guys annul that constitution and any other new constitution that takes into effect that sanction issue should be public hearing. It should be public hearing. These guys are wicked, they are thieves, they are criminals. And they should mark them. When people get involved in these kind of things like that, they should not allow them to hold any other governor post. Let them go find something else to do. Because they're not credible enough to serve the people. You know? This is wickedness and it should not be tolerated.
So, John,
Now, when it comes,
John,
yeah,
you have taken me to tax on the platform. The other time I saw you
that's
coming
why I
with
was going
fire.
to address. That's
I
why
was
I was
coming,
going
you
to
were coming
address.
with fire. I said, all right, let me dodge this guy
You
here.
misquoting me.
Go ahead then.
You misquoting me because you always say
Uh-huh.
the political parties.
Mm-hmm.
I said no. It's the people's duty to get on the street. Then the political parties support. Let the people get irritated about their own government and get on the street. They got more clout than the political party because when the political party goes, they say, oh, that for political expediency. But when the people get annoyed and get on the street, it is when they need support. And that's why the American government and every other government keeps telling us, you need to stand up. You need to stand up. Not the political party. And if you remember what I said, I didn't say the political party should stand up. I said the people should get on the street and make sure these people change the law. Because we, the people, got the power. We, the people, should understand our power. We, the people, should start tolerating these kind of things because without mere of a lesser God, like Professor Lumumba will say, you know, this tolerance of evil to our own detriment is sickening. It's sickening and needs to stop. Now, when you come to Louis Brown and things, I think I don't know whether it happened before or after the war, people got a wrong concept of the whole political thing. Everything is talking about, oh, pull the number, pull the number. People join political groups for different things. People got different talents that they can bring to the fore. This number business, we need to stop thinking about let the person qualifications give them the number.
All right.
If we just sit there and box numbers in pieces, we will always get the wrong people. We need to be looking at how qualified. I keep telling people, competence should make you popular. But popularity shouldn't make you, it cannot make you competent.
And John,
as we can see with George Weah.
And John, finally, I spoke
Yeah.
on the endorsement of Mr. Cummings by Louis Brown. This is Mr. Cummings' second time getting a big knee endorsement. And I'm sure you are aware that when Dr. Toga Gabriel McIntosh endorsed him, giving his own political record, many people have serious problem with Mr. Cummings and the ANC for accepting that endorsement. And now Louis Brown, and during the broadcast, I think I read a comment from someone who said, is this the Louis Brown with MPFL? And so what do you make of this? And the thing that always comes to you folks in the ANC and Mr. Cummings is, hey, you say your hands are clean. You say we can't be doing the same thing over and over and expect different results. But you have actors who people have qualms with for their involvement with either a political group or involvement in some form of way of, either a political institution that hurt the Liberian people. And you are taking these people when you should be accepting endorsement from people who don't have questionable records at all. Talk to me. You think this is a good endorsement from you guys? Doesn't it contradict, what you stand for?
No, and let me tell you why.
Mm-hmm.
The Liberian people, the criticism you will see come from the political branch, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the same Liberian people who see Liberians who were not involved in anything,
mm-hmm.
they come out and say, we don't know them. Cummings were all over the world working his corporate job that didn't allow him to even get involved in politics. But he comes home after he retired. They didn't even go do it while he was working. He retired and came home. And they said they don't know him. Regardless of all his competence and his ability, they said they don't know him. Who do they know? If you ask them just now, name of a vice presidential candidate for Cummings, They will, all of them will call you the same people who be involved in everything that they call corrupt. So they need to make up their mind. They either want to clean people, or they will have to deal with these people who will try to make clean. People who are able to be changed, we will change them. Because Liberia, somebody said something before. They said Liberian people hard to hear, but they quick to learn. If the Liberian people see the leader who is not interested in the shenanigans of corruption and all the kind of things, they will follow. Because all you got to do, punish one or two people to the law. The rest of the people
so John, that sounds like, because Mr. Cummings is known to be a decent, clean political actor now in Liberia, whoever comes on Mr. Cummings' side, Mr. Cummings' spirit will baptize that person and clean that person politically. Is that what I'm hearing?
Mr. Cummings' administration is going to put certain things in place that will make whoever it is, they will either abide or they will not be a part.
Can you teach an old dog new tricks, John? Can you teach an old dog new tricks? Can you teach an old dog new tricks?
Yes. It depends what kind of old dog it is. Now listen, they say wise people, even in the Bible, they say wise people change, right?
Right.
Isn't that what it says? Wise people change, right?
That's what it said.
The system is as such. Listen, the system is as such that people feel comfortable doing the wrong thing, like the representatives and senators who wrote that stupid law. They felt comfortable until it got blown out the other day. Now you hear some of them acting like they don't know about it. It's the same way. If I told you right now, Anthony, in this really easy, I told you get to Southside, go to Southside, and there's no plane flying in Liberia, how do you get there without getting dirty?
So
you will have to drive through the muddy road. You will have to go sometimes, step in the mud, get all muddy out. When you reach the south side, you wash up and you do what you got to do there. Liberia is full of devils. Liberia is full of corrupt people.
John,
they are the people you know and you vote for.
John, here's my final point.
The best we can do, listen, let me close. The best we can do is to work with those people, showing them a different kind of character that they will have to follow. And that's why we say the presidency is the most important. Because if the president is not going to be tolerant to corrupt behaviors, the people who work with him will have to behave or they will get thrown in the book.
John,
and nobody wants that.
I want you to close with this, John. I want you to close with this. My partner here, Dennis Jarrett, and he's quoting here. When you come to Cummings, the old have passed away, and behold, all things have become new. And let me add to that, right? So you can conclude.
And which area? Cummings and I'm gone.
Dennis. So yeah. Here's the thing.
Cummings,
I remember. Hold on. Let me let my point. Then you can close up, John, please. I remember I interviewed ANC Secretary General Aloysius Toh. Mr. Toh, when I pushed him, why are you guys doing with Uri in this political marriage called the CPP? He said to me, we will change them. He said the ANC will have changed Uri. So I told him, you can change Uri? He said, yes, we'll force them to change. And you know what happened. You know the history. Right? So it's the same thing that you are doing now. You couldn't change Uri, and now you are telling me you will change the other people?
The Uri question is a false equivalent. The Uri question is a false equivalent. Because ANC had no power to move or accept Uri because he came in with Joseph Water.
John, no, I disagree. You had the right and option to leave because you saw somebody whose behavior and record completely opposite of what you stand for. Come on, John.
Anthony, I just tell you, you Liberian people got to make up your mind what you want.
All right, John. All right, John.
People, when they say Liberian people,
Mm-hmm.
they say Cummings story is better than the rest of the people, and so he's standing aside.
All right.
And then when Cummings go to work with them, you say, why you work with them? What do you really want?
All right.
Make up your mind.
John, I think what you are telling me here
Cummings
is that
is not God. Cummings is not God, but what Cummings promised is to lead the way for people to do right by the country. And that's the best
thank you.
A human being can offer a nation.
Thank you, John.
Right?
John, thank you. And thank you. I appreciate your call. That was John Maulo there, a supporter of Mr. Cummings. You know, what I'm hearing from him is that, look, pepper and sauce sweet, even though we are talking about apples, but pepper and sauce sweet. That is what I'm hearing from him. I don't know if you understand that. Then this guy is the guy who is good with parables. So, folks, this is how I will come to an end of yet another edition of the Hour of Politics. We want to say thanks for staying with us throughout the broadcast. This is how we will draw down the curtains until we see you again. I'm Anthony Cie on behalf of our team here at Focus on Liberia. And Focus on Liberia was in Douala Market today. If you have not watched that video, it's on our Facebook page right now. I encourage you to go and watch it. What I saw troubles me a lot. I encourage you to watch that video. I would have done my usual closing, but today I'm not going to do my usual closing, what I try to sermonize a little bit. But for my closing, I encourage you, go and Focus on Liberia Facebook page and watch the video. I already put a date in Douala today. The Douala market, the newly built Douala market. You want to watch it, you will be disturbed, but it's good for you to know. Thank you for watching. The song that closes us is called We Are All Liberians, and that will do it for me here today at Focus on Liberia. Thank you. Enjoy the song, and bye-bye.
We are Liberians.